Do you have any guesses who the vice president?
Okay, so a day or two before I went off the grid, Politico leaked out that it was going to be Kamala Harris, and I sort of felt that was like a little too obvious, even though he said it had to be a woman, and we know he
said it had to be black.
Yeah, did he in fact say it had to...
a woman of color?
Oh,
so it could have been Elizabeth Warren. Could have, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit in the reactions to the party conventions.
Yeah. The party conventions.
The party conventions happen. They both happen.
Is Biden's alive?
Biden, technically, I don't. I mean, that's at least what they're saying.
Yeah. So Biden is still a nominee.
He is the nominee.
Yeah. I'm still not convinced.
You don't know. Do you have any guesses who the vice president?
Okay. So a day or two before I went off the grid, Politico leaked out that it was going to be Kamala Harris, and I sort of felt that was like a little too obvious, even though he said it had to be a woman, and we know he
said it had to be black.
Yeah. Did he in fact say it had
a woman of color?
Oh,
so it could have been Elizabeth Warren. Could have, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. About a week later, and now I was off the grid already. I was in the fruit section. I was buying a melon. Actually, I do enjoy a little watermelon in the summer months. It gets hot here. And there was a woman like screaming in joy about Kamala Harris. So I suspect that it is Kamala Harris. I'm guessing it's Kamala Harris. The way you're nodding at me, sort of.
It is Kamala Harris.
She is the worst.
She is the worst.
She is the worst. I mean, she is the worst.
Do you think
she is the worst?
Do you think the pick would have helped him or hurt him in the polls?
Do I think that Kamala would help him or hurt him? Well, it can't really. Well, first off, the polls at this point, it's like
who knows what the polls mean.
It can't really help because the Democrats hated her. Nobody voted for her. Nobody likes her. And the crazy lefties that are running the show right now, the Antifa, Bernie coalition of Marxist lunatics, they all hate Kamala Harris because they think she's like a corporatist sellout. But she. Ugh, that's so gross.
It's so gross. And it did, look.
She's the worst. She's the worst kind of authoritarian.
Yeah.
You remember that moment at one of the debates when she was still in it, when the question was asked to Biden about would you use an executive action to ban assault weapons or do something on guns?
Yeah.
And Biden said, people can find this. Biden said, oh, well, it would have to be constitutional. And Kamala Harris looks at him laughing. And she says, Joe, can't we just say, yes, we can? And it's like, wait a minute. You think that you can use the power of the executive branch to supersede the power of the legislative branch on something that's enshrined
in the Constitution?
Bill of Rights?
Yeah.
Like, she's the worst.
So it's funny you mention that witchy cackle, because you'll remember, this is the big problem when Biden picks her. She launched the most vicious attack against Biden that has yet been launched this cycle. She called him a vicious racist at those early debates and said he was a segregational or whatever, right?
Oh, right.
Remember that?
Right.
The busing and all this ridiculous thing. So she goes on the Colbert Show. And Colbert, to his credit, pushes her. He says, Senator Harris, what happened to Joe Biden being a terrible racist?
What'd she
and
say?
she puts on the cackle. She goes, ha, 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 it was a debate. And so he says, right, it was a debate, but are you saying you were lying then, or it's not? He goes, ha, 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 it was a debate. It was a debate. It's called a debate. It was a debate. She must have repeated the word debate.
And that's how evil these people are. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's all becoming too obvious to everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
The nonsense, she never believed he was a racist. No one in their right mind believes Joe Biden is a racist.
Yeah.
But then you throw it out there, and for anyone that's on the fence about politics, that's watching this happen, it's like, when you see them do it against their own and it's a lie, does it make you wonder when they call everybody else, maybe it's a lie too?
Right.
But this stuff, for some reason, it just sticks to conservatives more than it does their own. But wait, so tell me about the polls.
They pick Kamala. Yeah. And you pick a vice presidential candidate, your polls are supposed to go up. That's the point of picking a vice presidential candidate. Balances the ticket, maybe you win a state, but it's got to help you. The poll numbers went down. So even Democrats were deeply dismayed by this.
Because who likes her?
Who likes her? She was one of the first people out in the primary. Nobody wanted this woman to be the pick. And so this ties
Identity politics ruins everything it touches, period.
Including your own base of support.
Yeah.
Right, it's like even the Democrats kind of made this Faustian bargain where they're like, okay, we'll do this identity politics thing, which is obviously evil and contrary to logic, but at least we'll get more support. Maybe for a little while, but you go in, so first is the DNC, and then the RNC followed.
Oh, okay.
DNC, worst produced thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You would think Democrats own Hollywood.
And was it live or not?
It was, some of it was live,
So live meaning there were people.
Oh, no. All of it was a Zoom call. The only question is, was it actually going out live, or was it?
Did Biden get out of the basement, or did he literally do it from the basement?
So he actually did somewhat well in his acceptance speech. He slurred some words, but that's par for the course.
Yeah.
But he was barely in it. He was barely a part of this thing. It was all this weird Zoom call stuff. I actually want to do 2 truths and a lie with you right now, just before we get into the DNC, okay?
Okay.
So you tell me which one of these is the lie.
Okay.
The DNC removed the phrase "under God" from the Pledge of Allegiance.
That feels true to me because they've been trying to do this for a long time.
Okay. They booed God, remember?
Yeah.
Was it 2012?
Yeah.
So, okay.
So that feels true.
That feels
really
true.
Disturbing. Yeah.
Okay. Hillary Clinton urged Americans to respect the results of the election.
No, that doesn't feel true to me.
It doesn't.
They want.
Even if it's Biden, even if they think Biden's going to win?
They're setting it up knowing that Biden's brain is going to explode or something. But she doesn't want people. They haven't done it for 4 years.
Yeah.
These last 4 years. So that does. I guess. Well, I suppose I could envision a situation where she's tipping to the people. If our guy wins, let's make sure we accept it.
Right. I guess it's sort of poll dependent, right?
Yeah.
It's like if Biden's way up in the polls. And don't forget, when you went off the grid, Biden was way up in the polls. We can maybe get into that a little bit too.
Okay. One of my neighbors in the new house does have a Joe Biden, little placard in front of his house. It's Biden's sunglasses, and it's got the American flag in each eye.
Is there anything more contrived than the stupid Biden aviator thing?
I wear aviators. He's ruined the.
He's ruined aviators. It's so lame.
Yeah.
Third one, Trump brought peace to the Middle East.
I like the way you play this game, Knowles. That seems more legit to me than the Democrats respecting the election if Trump wins. But I'm going to go on the assumption that is false.
Okay.
So
then you've got these three.
Yeah.
DNC removes under God. Hillary
Yes.
Clinton says respect the election. Trump brings peace to the Middle East.
Yeah.
So which is the lie?
Well, Trump didn't bring peace to the Middle East. Although, I've been away for a while, Knowles. We live in a strange time. There's peace in the Middle East.
There's sort of peace in the Middle East.
We got peace.
So, and Trump sort of brought it. So there is an historic deal that was just signed, normalizing relations between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. This is the first time that Israel has normalized relations with an Arab country in at least 2 decades. I think 26 years or something like that. This is actually world historic news.
Wow.
And of course, it's being blocked out of the mainstream media.
Sure.
Even if you had been in the news, you probably wouldn't have seen this during the week because mainstream media is not talking about it. So Trump actually does this. He gets absolutely no credit for it, of course. The under God thing, the DNC did remove it at the start of the Muslim caucus and the LGBT caucus. So it wasn't at the start of the convention itself, but at those two. Could you imagine?
That's really twisted, but that's not surprising.
Seems to me the LGBT caucus, I guess there's no direct, it's not like that's a religious group.
Right, it's not religious, so, all right, let's just put that one aside for a second.
But the Muslim caucus? That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Pretty sure they believe in God.
I think they do.
Think
I call
part
them a
of the
different
religion?
name. But
Yeah.
So they do, because obviously the DNC is now just totally secular, totally atheistic. And you were right, Hillary Clinton. Of course, I love that it is more believable that Trump brings peace to the Middle East than that Hillary Clinton says respect the election. And not only is it believable, it's true. Hillary Clinton went out there and said, Joe Biden should not concede this election
They're trying to start a war.
Under any circumstances. Not just he shouldn't concede, it's close, it'll be a little, under any circumstances.
It's so obvious to me that the Democrats invited this evil, cancerous ideology into the House. They invited it in. And now it has ransacked the entire place. It's pulling the copper wiring from the walls on the way out. The entire thing is collapsing. And there is, really this is true, like I don't mean this to be hyperbolic. There's almost nothing you could have said to me that happened at the DNC thing, short of Biden burning the American flag, like right up there, like, you see, let's just do it, everybody, that I wouldn't have believed because I hope maybe more people are realizing how evil and corrupt and anti-American and everything else this thing has become. And I look forward to criticizing the Republicans in just a moment when you tell me a little bit about what happened there. But like this, there's nothing We've discussed this a million times in the last year. There is nothing the liberals can do. The good, decent liberals who are scattered throughout the galaxy, and there's very few of them left, there's nothing they can do to stop this thing. If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.